The official second generation threatens the girl with a secretly filmed video. Meet at your backyard warehouse at 10:30 tonight, or your shower video will go viral.
Sam. Sam, please.
Facing the girl's desperate pleas, Erdai smiled brightly and then drove off swiftly. That night, it was stormy with thunder and lightning. Seeing the girl waiting at the door, the second generation was very pleased. He eagerly closed the door, but suddenly the lights came on. The girl had called her mother over. Seeing her mother, even more charming than her, the girl had a bold idea. Together, they could be even more interesting. Using the second generation to threaten her mother, the girl grabbed a steel pipe. He smashed the phone on the ground while crying. The mother found that the second generation was already breathless, and both mother and daughter were terrified. Anjo hurried to call her father, but he was focused on watching a movie at his video store and had set the landline to do not disturb. Left with no choice, the mother and daughter took matters into their own hands. They put the body in a sack and buried it in their yard. Unexpectedly. I'm glad my youngest daughter saw it. The heavy rain fell all night. After finding comfort in movies until dawn, I returned home to learn my wife and daughter had killed someone. Looking at the grave where the body is buried, she tries to stay calm and thinks about what to do next. The wife thinks it was just a manslaughter and should call the police. Weijai knows if they do that, their daughter is finished. To prevent Anjo from facing prison, Weijai decided to help him cover up the truth. He arrived at the crime scene with his wife and daughter. No bloodstains indicated the second generation died from internal injuries. When his wife and daughter were clearing the crime scene, he took the SIM card from the ground. Because having watched countless movies, he knew the police would track the missing person using the SIM card. The large amount of mooncakes allowed him to devise a meticulous plan. He first had his wife immediately close the doors and windows, creating the illusion that no one was home. Upon learning that the second generation had a yellow sedan nearby, he hurriedly took the keys to find the car, and this scene was just noticed by a police officer nearby. Worse, this officer was notorious for his wrongdoings and was here to forcibly collect protection fees from the villagers. The honest Weijai often opposed him openly and secretly because he disliked the fame associated with his name. This led to a deeper bond between the two, despite only being, from a distant glance. The black police immediately recognized their archenemy Weiji. Vijay had just driven out of the village when he encountered a traffic jam at an underpass. Feeling anxious, he unconsciously looked out the window and saw a poster for a corpse fluid production. Suddenly, an idea struck Vijay. After arriving in town, he first bought a phone, inserted the SIM card, and then switched it to silent mode. After wiping off the fingerprints, he tossed the phone into a truck's cabin, then drove to an abandoned mine. Taking advantage of the deserted surroundings, he pushed the vehicle into the water. Before the car sank, an elderly scavenger suddenly appeared at the mountaintop. At that moment, if the old man turned around, everything he intended to do would surely be revealed. Looking at the slowly sinking car and the old man on the mountaintop, beads of sweat formed on Vijay's forehead. Fortunately, by the time the old man looked over, the car had completely sunk into the water. Then Weijai hailed a taxi back to the shop. He told the assistant, "I will go to town tomorrow for a sermon. Please take good care of the shop and don't make any mistakes." After explaining everything, Weijai hurried home, but as soon as he entered, he learned from his wife that the deceased's mother was a renowned local prosecutor. This woman excels at torture and coerced confessions. Moreover, the victim's father is a high-ranking official in the police department. Either one of them is a significant figure, definitely not someone to cross. His wife and children were very worried, but Weiji remained calm. He asked his family to act as if nothing had happened, as even a slight abnormality could raise suspicions, especially with experienced police officers. After speaking, he asked his wife to hurry and pack their bags. The whole family will go to town for 2 days tomorrow. If anyone asks, just say they went to listen to a sermon. The wife is confused because the master is lecturing on the 2nd and 3rd of October, and now it's already the evening of the 3rd. Where will they go to listen tomorrow on the 4th? Vijay reassured him not to worry, as he had his own plan. On the morning of October 4th, Vijay took his family on a private bus to the town, naturally chatting with the bus owner who was a friend. When asked where he was going, Vijay casually replied that he was going to the town to listen to the master speak. The busy boss didn't realize the bonus was over and happily covered their travel expenses. Soon, the Weiji family reached the lecture line. At this time, the staff have already begun cleaning the venue, but they still stayed here all day. By evening, they checked into a small inn and had dinner at a roadside stall after unpacking. The next day, October 5th, Weijai took his whole family to have Western cuisine and then to the movies, during which all expenses were documented with receipts. Afterward, they took the bus home. On the bus, Weijai deliberately let his little daughter sit by the window, giving him a chance to chat with the ticket collector. When they returned home at night, the weather turned bad, and heavy rain poured down, bringing memories of murder back to his wife and Anju. Weijai reminds them again that fear is the last evidence, and they must put it behind them. Additionally, from today onwards, make sure to ask for and keep receipts for any purchases. The days returned to calm, but the good times didn't. Euro 270 last. What was meant to come would arrive. About 3 weeks later, a group of children swimming in the pond at the mine unexpectedly discovered a yellow car surrounded by a fence. Mela and her husband were already frantic due to their son's disappearance upon arriving at the scene. Since no body of her son was found in the car, Mela believes the vehicle is pushed into the lake while unconscious. The killer's intention is clearly to destroy evidence, meaning the son likely faced abduction. To quickly ascertain the truth, Mela urgently called in the administrative department to begin tracking the mobile signals. The investigation revealed that on the afternoon of October 2nd, mobile signal appeared in the village where Wei Ji's family lives and left the service area at 10:30 p.m. The next day, on the morning of October 3rd, the signal appeared in the town, then started to travel across the country until it was shut down in a distant city. The attentive officer discovered that since noon on the 3rd, the phone used with the SIM card had changed, meaning someone else was using it, cutting off this lead. Meanwhile, news of the second generation's disappearance reached the village police station where Vijay was. Upon seeing the photo of the yellow bike, the undercover cop immediately recalled that he had seen it before, and it was being driven by his rival, Wei Ji. However, he did not report it on the spot, but instead prepared to confirm the truth of the matter first. So he came to the restaurant frequently visited by Wei Ji, quietly interacting with the undercover police while Wei Ji had his meal. The restaurant owner chatted and deliberately revealed that the police found a yellow sedan at the mine. Hearing this, Wei Ji was taken aback, and the careful police officer noticed the subtle change in his expression. Confirming his suspicion was correct, after realizing his leg was broken, the corrupt cop hurried to report to his superiors. However, Wei Ji is well respected in the village, and even the sheriff does not believe him, thinking he is seeking personal revenge. However, given the unusual nature of this case, the sheriff decided to investigate first. Upon returning home, Wei Ji sensed the police would follow clues to their door, so he coordinated statements with his family overnight. Wei Ji reminded everyone of one thing. Their family attended the scripture on October 2nd and returned on October 3rd, which was a Sunday. The reason the two daughters didn't go to school on Monday and Tuesday was that they caught a cold from being rained on the night they got home, forcing them to stay homesick, since there were heavy rains every night during those days. This lie was practically flawless. The next day, to verify the eyewitness information from the corrupt officer, the police visited him. The family paying protection fees wanted them to identify him as a robber, but the officer was notorious for entrapment. No one was willing to assist the wrongdoings, let alone frame someone. They all stated they didn't see clearly at that time. Just as Wei Jie was about to escape a disaster, the police uncovered new clues. They found Anjuye on the list, based on the second generation study tour records, and the two had an unpleasant disagreement. In the yellow car incident, police suspected a conspiracy to murder the second generation, seeking revenge for the daughter. But now, these are only speculative and lack concrete evidence. Moreover, the villagers know that Anju is a child found among the garbage. Although not biologically related, he is treated as if he were. With such selfless compassion and long-term care for the villagers, Wei Jie has become a moral role model for the entire village. Conducting a public inquiry without evidence may likely trigger public outrage. Thus, the sheriff decided to privately interrogate Wei Jie's family. First, they went to the school to question Anju, who was already mentally prepared, because Vijay anticipated this day and taught him how to respond in advance. Anju remained calm when facing the police's continuous questioning. He did not deny knowing the second generation and mentioned their time studying abroad. He often harasses girls, but doesn't mention the threats of the second generation naked photos or what happened that night. Instead, he recounted how his family went to listen to the teachings and emphasized again that on October 2nd and 3rd, which are Saturday and Sunday, his family was in town and couldn't possibly be linked to the second generation's disappearance. Moreover, due to Anjupin's excellent academic performance, the principal also spoke on his behalf, confirming that he had been homesick on Monday and Tuesday. Although Anju's response was nearly flawless, the police wouldn't give up and went to ask Vijay's wife at home. After hearing the news, Wei Jie was afraid his wife would discover the flaw, so he quickly rode his motorcycle home and happened to encounter the police just as they arrived at the door. The corrupt officer, upon seeing him, maliciously asked why he was back so early today. Vijay doesn't care about the implications, but is explaining to another officer that the school just called me, saying you might come to my house for an investigation. Wei Jie and his wife stated they had never seen the second generation yellow vehicle shown in the photos by the police. The black police impatiently said, "I saw you drive that car away with my own eyes." Before Wei Jie could respond, his wife interrupted with a blunt remark. There was an assist, and we weren't home at all. The police didn't mention number 2, basically admitting guilt. The black-clad police smiled slyly, believing victory was assured. However, Wei Jie was quick-witted and swiftly countered the flaw. He said the school just called and shared all the details of the case, which is how he knows about the second generation going missing on the 2nd. Regarding the black police identification, he said everyone in the village knows about our feud, and no explanation will help. Then took out the previously collected tickets and redrew the itinerary for Route 2 and 3 based on the tickets. They took a private bus to listen to the police, stayed at a small inn, and ate at a roadside stall. The whole family went to see a movie, had Western food, and then took the bus home. because the private bus on the 2nd is free and roadside stalls are not qualified to issue tickets. Vicky only submitted the tickets from the 3rd to the police. This is a bit confusing. The Weijai family went to the town on the 4th, so how does he have a receipt from the 3rd? Moreover, the consumption record indeed shows Vijay's name, so how did these receipts come about? The black cop is puzzled, but the evidence is right in front of him. Cannot forcefully rebut. However, he raised a question from another angle. Who would buy something without a receipt? Weijai calmly explained that we are an ordinary family, and we must be frugal, unlike some who can waste money freely. Hearing this, the officer's face darkened, but he couldn't think of a retort, and could only leave with the others, feeling defeated. However, to report to Mila, the sheriff gave a truthful account of today's investigation. After hearing the entire account of the incident, Mela concluded that Weijai was the murderer. Although no concrete evidence has been found yet, he believes that a man who dropped out of school in the 4th grade is unlikely to have a high IQ. As long as he personally intervenes, he is sure the truth will come to light. The next day, Weijai and his family were taken to the police station. To prevent them from colluding, the police detained them separately. Little did they know the night before, Sister Wei predicted the police wouldn't let it go easily, so she prepared her wife and daughter with what to say. To prevent any loopholes, he specifically reminded his 2 daughters not to be too exact about the time, as so many days have passed and most people wouldn't remember clearly. Additionally, he also predicted that the police would focus on the youngest daughter, as she is the easiest to manipulate, so specific training was conducted for her in advance. Despite the police's best efforts, they did not obtain any valuable clues. Moreover, the news of the Vijay family's detention quickly spread throughout the town, with townspeople spontaneously gathering at the police station, followed by media such as television stations. Due to public pressure and lack of evidence, Mela had no choice but to release him temporarily to quell the situation. However, he couldn't stop the investigation into Vijay. Since he couldn't find a breakthrough directly from the suspect, he gathered everyone who had contact with Vijay's family, asking questions to explore if the Vijay family was lying.
The next day, villagers said Weijie mentioned attending a sermon on the 2nd and detailed the master's teaching
regarding number 2 and number 3 seeing Weijai in the village. It's been over a month since the incident, and everyone says they haven't seen him. The townspeople, the bus owner, and the ticket agent confirmed that Weijie was either on the bus or in town on the 2nd and 3rd, even the hotel front desk. The restaurant owner can also testify for Vijay, as there is a record of Vijay number 2 in the hotel register. The Western restaurant owner clearly remembers that day when the Vijay family praised the cream bread. Unconvinced, Mira called the bonus master again, who said the content of my bonuses is always different. Since Weijie could mention what happened on day 2, it means he must have attended it that day. In addition, the cinema owner remembers the Vijay family, as they specifically visited the projection room after watching the movie. The witnesses' testimonies were so consistent that Mela discovered a flower shop. It's been over a month since the incident, so why do these people remember a stranger's affairs so clearly? The bus ticket seller said she had forgotten, but a few days ago she ran into the Weijie family on the road. Vijay mentioned that their last meeting was on the 3rd. He also said that on the 2nd, the whole family went to listen to a sermon. Not only the bus ticket seller, but also the bus owner, Western restaurant owner, and cinema projectionist had all recently run into Vijay again, reinforcing the information about listening on the 2nd and returning home on the 3rd. Mela is sure Weijie is the murderer, but then Master Jiang Jing appears. However, it was mentioned that although there are always followers recording and participating in the prize, the recording needs to be reserved in advance, and Weijie is not on the reservation list, which eliminates the possibility that Weijie obtained the content of prize number 2 through the recording. Kamela still refused to give up. He suddenly remembered what the bus ticket seller said about number 3 Vijay, who had gone to the ATM because he didn't bring cash. He sent someone to retrieve the surveillance footage, and indeed saw Vijay's figure. This evidence can absolutely solidify Weijie's innocence, as receipts and witness testimony may be fabricated, but surveillance footage cannot be tampered with. Now everyone, including the corrupt police, is stunned. However, Mela feels something is off. After much thought, she discovers the key issue, and basically reconstructs Weijie's escape plan. Because the last call record of the 2nd generation was on the 2nd, it is certain that he went missing on the 2nd. Afterward, Weijie drove to the town on the morning of the 3rd to destroy evidence, bought a new phone and SIM card, then threw the phone away, and drove the yellow car into the water. He went to the Western restaurant and bought 4 cream breads to go, receiving number 3 for dining. The ticket, likewise, he went to the cinema to buy 4 movie tickets. After doing all this, he waited outside the ATM, went in to withdraw money after a while, left a video, and then bought 4 tickets to return to the village. The next day, on the morning of the 4th, Weijie took his family on a private bus to town, and specifically informed the bus driver that they were going to listen to a sermon. When they arrived at the prize location, although the venue was being dismantled, the poster for the prize video sale was still up. Vijay saw this and used a fake name to reserve the prize content for that day. In the afternoon, when he checked into the hotel, he took advantage of the receptionist's inattention to quickly sign his name as the second man, and then on the fourth day, he signed a fake name. The next day, October 5th, Wei Ji checked out and took his family to a Western restaurant. They not only specifically ordered cream bread, but also complimented the owner to leave a deep impression. Later, in the cinema, he employed the same trick again. While leaving on the bus, he pretended he had no cash, creating the illusion of needing to stop at an ATM. However, that day he was just hiding outside the bank and did not go inside. After creating all the physical and witness evidence, Wei Ji took the whole family to the town again to talk to witnesses who might be found by the police, reinforcing their false memories of encountering each other on the second and third. By this point, even the veteran investigator Mela had to admire Wei Ji's skill in deception. But despite the facts being clear, he had no evidence to convict him. But he has another method, which is his specialty: interrogation through torture. The next morning, Vijay's family was taken away by the police again. Mela had the thug police take ruthless action to reveal the truth. The black-clad police have long hated Wei Ji and now seek personal revenge, showing no hesitation or mercy. No matter how ruthless the attack, Vijay remains steadfast. Seeing this, Veera ordered 2 female subordinates to brutally beat Vijay's wife and Anju. Watching his wife and daughter beaten to the point of spitting blood, Vijay remained silent, despite his pain. At this moment, a second-generation friend was summoned, and Mela signaled her subordinates to stop. I initially planned to find some clues from a second-generation friend, but was informed about their incident of secretly filming girls in the shower at summer camp. After this, Mela and her husband fell into awkward silence. Although they have always indulged their son and are aware of his cynical attitude, they never expected he would do such a despicable thing. Many media outlets have arrived outside, wanting to interview Mela. In this situation, Mela has no choice but to risk it all. He urges the police to beat him to reveal the truth. If the suspect's confession is not obtained, his son's misdeeds will be exposed, and she and her husband will face punishment for administering private justice against good people. The 3 adults seem like an impenetrable fortress. Mela soon reached for the little girl, instructing the black police to lock the 3 adults outside and then intimidate the little girl. Wei Ji and his wife and daughter are hugging outside, unaware of the torment their young daughter is facing inside. At this moment, Anju could no longer hold back. She wanted to confess to avoid her sister's suffering, but Wei Ji said, "I promised you I wouldn't let you go to jail, and I will keep my word." At this moment, the youngest daughter in the room was already crying in fear, but she didn't say a word that could harm her family. However, the corrupt police, to prove their suspicions right and eliminate their targets, have become frenzied and inhumane, turning to violence against their young daughter. In the end, the youngest daughter couldn't bear it and described what she witnessed: the buried body. After getting the results, the police were all excited, and they hurriedly prepared to dig up the body at Vijay's house. Immediately after, the Vijay family returned home with the police amidst a crowd and media. As the police began their determined search for the second generation's body, villagers, following Wei Ji's instructions, told reporters that the black police resent him, claiming this action is his framing of good people. As the excavation deepens, Wei Ji's family grows increasingly anxious, while Mela feels more conflicted. She fears seeing her son's body but also fears it might end in vain. The police dug up the burlap sack used for the body, and the truth is about to be revealed. But in the next second, what fell from the bag was not a human corpse, but a decaying dog, reduced to bones. It turns out that on the night of the 3rd, Wei Ji secretly moved the body. He didn't tell anyone where he transferred it, and to protect his family's safety, he will keep this secret forever. At the right moment, Wei Ji hugged his daughter and told the media that the police hit the child. This completely enraged the onlookers, who rushed forward and beat the black police officer severely. Later, the media reported the police. The scandal of torture during interrogation has been reported. To preserve the remaining dignity of the police system, all local police were reassigned. The corrupt Mela couple was suspended for investigation, while the Wei family enjoyed a rare period of peace. But that day, when Wei Jie was chatting with his wife, the police car came again, this time not for questioning, but for a private meeting with the Melas. Now they are no longer aggressive. Instead, they admit their poor parenting and apologize for the coerced confessions and their son's videotaping. They are about to leave this sad place, but before they go, they want the truth. At first Wei Jie hesitated to speak, but as a father himself, he couldn't help but soften upon seeing the couple who had lost their son and were devastated. He ultimately subtly admitted to sending an unwelcome guest to a place from which he would never return. Wei Ji went to the police station to finalize the case, meaning he would have no further involvement with the second disappearance. The police station has relocated to a new address, and most new officers are in place. Confronted by Vijay, who exposed the police department, the new chief stated, "I have no good feelings towards you. This will continue." Searching for the second generation's body, Vivek detected the distrust and threat in the other person's words, but he felt no fear or worry. Instead, he calmly said, "You and the police department will definitely protect us." With a determined expression, he turned and left the police station. When the second generation died, the new station's floor was nearly completed. Vijay realized it was the perfect place to hide a body. But the new director would never have imagined that the corpse he was looking for was just a few meters beneath his feet. The film Mistaken Killings is directed by Nikki Tikamart, starring Ajay Devgan, and was released in 2015. To help the daughter of the murderer escape punishment, Wei-Jai devised a perfect getaway plan based on the thousands of movies he had seen. He first dealt with everything that could be incriminating in the police investigation, then he artificially created a series of alibis. As a seasoned film buff, Wei-Jai is well aware of police investigation tactics, so he can easily infer the direction and content of the police inquiry. This allowed him to stay steps ahead of the police, coordinating excuses with his family in advance. He is well versed in film editing techniques. Whether the events happen coherently or on the same day is not important. What matters is that they must have actually occurred. This way, there will be material to piece together later, which is also his main strategy for creating an alibi. Although this trick was eventually uncovered by the police, the investigation relies on evidence. Even if the facts are clear, without evidence, the suspect cannot be convicted. This is the main reason why Wei-Jai was able to escape unscathed. Of course, the smartest and most brilliant part of Wei-Jai was hiding the most important body in the least suspicious place, the police station. Wei-Jai is undoubtedly seen as a good person. He is friendly, helpful, and particularly doting on his wife and children. So when his daughter accidentally killed someone, he didn't urge her to surrender right away. Instead, he did everything possible to cover up the crime. This was not just a natural instinct of parental love, but also because he was aware of the darkness and corruption within the police station. Even if they tried their best to prove it was an accident, they would still face indiscriminate punishment, especially since he had a conflict with one of the police officers, and the victim was the son of a powerful prosecutor. Knowing the law could not provide justice, it is confirmed that Wei-Jai can only seek protection for himself and his child. Wei-Jai's actions undoubtedly violate the law and show contempt for the judicial system. His behavior is undesirable and hard to emulate, but his love for the child is touching. Although no parents in the world do not love their children, the ways and methods of loving differ, and the feedback received varies greatly. However, it can be certain that excessive pampering and indulgence will not make a child better. Instead, it may lead to irreparable mistakes and even ruin the child's life. What defines the correct way to love a child is a lesson that parents must always learn. Alright, that's all for today's movie share. Please like, comment, and share. I'm Shark, looking forward to our next encounter.